Hey guys, welcome back. Now, for anyone who's been following my channel for a while, you will know I am a big fan of Ethereum. And over the last few months, I have seen quite a few videos on how to become an Ethereum millionaire. However, they always forget to include the most important part, the how. They always leave out the specifics of how much money you would need to invest to make it happen. And also what Ethereum would have to do in order to make it a reality. And so that is what this video is all about. In order to know exactly how to make $1 million from Ethereum, we'll need to look at the past, the present, and the future. So in this video, we will be looking at the growth rate of Ethereum so far, where we are in the current crypto cycle, and then how much money we actually have to invest to hit that $1 million mark. As always, if you do find anything useful in the video, be sure to drop a like, as that's always very much appreciated. Okay, so before we get started, due to the nature of this video, we are going to need one of these. A quick disclaimer.
This video is for education purposes only. You should seek investment advice from a registered professional before making any investment decision. This video is not responsible for any investment actions taken by its viewers.
So the first thing we're going to look at is the Ethereum price movements. And amazingly, Ethereum only came out in 2015, so it's not even 6 years old. So we'll pick it up from about here in 2016, and Ethereum was around the $1 mark. And we can see the first big price movement was up to here, which is around the $10 mark. So this is a 10x movement right there. We had this kind of sideways pattern for a while. The next big price movement went from around the $10 mark all the way up to over $300. So that's over a 30x movement. And again, we kind of saw this kind of sideways pattern for quite a while. So we'll pick it up again from about $300. And from $300, it went up to about $1,200. So that is a 4x movement. And this was the big peak in 2018. We then had a big 2-year correction or crash from then. And we'll pick it up from about here, which is about the $200 mark. And then most recently from 2020, it's gone from this $200 mark to where we are today, which is just over 2,000. So that is another 10x movement. So basically we had a 10x movement here, we had a 30x movement here, a 4x movement here, and then another, most recently, 10x movement here. So that is the past, and the question is, where are we with Ethereum right now? And this is a quick snapshot of the Ethereum ecosystem. And this is just a sample of a few of the different projects being built on Ethereum right now. And this is where Ethereum is really dominating. Nearly all of the DeFi projects are being built on Ethereum. We recently had Visa saying it's going to be using Ethereum. But I can tell you right now, we are still in the early days. Think about it. If you were to ask a random person on the street about any of these projects, they wouldn't know what you're talking about. So I still think this is very early days. So you can see just how explosive Ethereum can be. And that's not bad for a 6-year-old, right? So we had a 10x move, a 30x move, a 4x move, and then most recently another 10x move. And I don't think Ethereum is anywhere close to being mainstream just yet. I think the average person on the street has no idea of any of the Ethereum projects going on, and probably not even Ethereum itself. So I do think it's clearly still very early days. And I think it's fair to say that Ethereum could make future 10x and 20x moves. Now, before we break down the actual math and see how much money we would need to invest, we need to understand Ethereum's relationship to Bitcoin and also where we are in the current crypto cycle. Let's take a look. So here we have just a simple price chart for Bitcoin. And this goes back to 2017. And just look at the vertical jump that's happened in the last 6 months. So what I'm going to show you is just how correlated Ethereum is to Bitcoin. So what we'll do is we'll add in Ethereum. And the prices are obviously really different, so we'll change this to a log chart. And now you can see just how correlated Ethereum is to Bitcoin. Orange being Ethereum, blue being Bitcoin. And you can see when Bitcoin goes up, Ethereum follows. When there's a big correction, Ethereum follows. And you can see the price chart is almost identical. So what I'm showing you here is that when we're predicting the future price of Ethereum, we have to base it off Bitcoin. And when it comes to Bitcoin, we have to know that it goes through 4-year cycles. So here we have a halving event and we have 1 to 2 years of a huge uptrend followed by a big crash until the next halving cycle. We then have 1 to 2 years of a huge uptrend, 1 to 2 years of a big crash until the next halving cycle. Most recently, we are now in this big uptrend, and we're probably over halfway. So the last 10x movement that you saw in Ethereum, this is what's just happened here. Could it still do another 10x from here? It's possible. We'll then likely see a really big crash and correction with a sideways trend for a couple of years. And then if history repeats, we'll probably get one last chance of another 10 to 20x cycle. So the two key takeaways from this is that we could possibly see another 10x movement in Ethereum. There's probably going to be another big crash, and then we may get one last chance of a 10 to 20x movement. So whether we like it or not, Ethereum is still correlated to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still the Mac Daddy, it is still King Kong, and if we're lucky, Ethereum could still move 10x in this cycle. And we may get one last chance of a 10 to 20x movement in the last cycle. But with one big caveat: if Ethereum is proven to be the protocol of choice, as there's always the risk that something else could replace it, and we still are in very early days. It reminds me a little bit of the old Wild West. And on a quick side note, we do have the super cycle theory, which says with all this institutional activity going on, we could break out of this 4-year cycle and it could just keep going up. But obviously that's not guaranteed, so let's just keep things conservative. Okay, so we have the price movements. We know that Ethereum can make 10x and 20x movements. And we also know where we are in the current crypto cycle. Let's now do the math. How much money would we actually need to invest to hit that $1 million mark? Let's take a look. Okay, so let me just bust out an old-fashioned chalkboard and how to get to $1 million. Okay, so it probably doesn't come as a surprise that if you only have $100, even with a 20x movement, it only takes you to $2,000. Now, with $1,000, even with 20x in, you're still only around the $20,000 mark. So to get to 1 million, you're going to need in the region of $50,000. Then with a 20x in, this'll take you to the $1 million mark. Or with $100,000, you'd only need a 10x in to get it to the $1 million mark. Now, is it possible with $10,000 that you get really lucky with the rest of this cycle, get a 10x movement taking you to $100,000? Then we did see a big crash for a couple of years. You managed to sell out very close to the top, buy back in very close to the bottom, and your 100,000 then sees another 10x movement taking you to the $1 million mark. So yes, it is possible with $10,000, but you would need several factors going in your favor. And think about it, you'd also need hodling guts of steel. If you're used to playing with sums of around $10,000, once you're in the hundreds of thousands of dollars and everyone on the news is talking about a crash coming, you would have to hodl all the way to $1 million. And I can tell you, 95% of people will be selling up before they get to this mark. So just bear that in mind too. So we might see ETH still 10x from here, which would take it to around the $20,000 mark. And I think that would be the best case scenario. And if history were to repeat, we would see another big decline, but if we can time it right, there's one last chance to get another 10 to 20x movement. So having crunched all this data, my conclusion is this. Yes, it is still possible to become an Ethereum millionaire, but you would likely need $50,000 to $100,000, several factors working in your favor, and don't forget hodling guts of steel. I personally don't have the stomach to try and time this market perfectly, so I'll be playing it a little bit safer, taking profits along the way, and I'm happy to make a lower return. I will be doing a video on how I am personally playing out the rest of the year, so stay tuned for that. So there you are guys, having seen several videos on how to become an Ethereum millionaire, I wanted to show you exactly how that would work with data and facts. And I hope you found this useful, if nothing else. So having said that, if you did find anything useful in the video, be sure to drop a like, and a big thank you to everyone who does. You guys are awesome. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I invite you to click below and join us. I do have some great videos coming up that you don't want to miss. Okay, cheers guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.